Yo, man. Hopefully you guys are having a good Tuesday night. Um, man, I know it's hard to go undefeated, but this Niner team, if healthy, when healthy, can we beat premier top QBs? Can we finally beat Patrick Mahomes? Because to my recollection, this talented Niners defense, we can't beat Patrick Mahomes. I mean, even last year, they smoked us, man. Or was it 2 years ago? I don't really remember, man. You know, my timeline is a little messed up. I just remember a lot of names and some really good memories, like the early 2000s. I remember we had a very stacked team. Well, I thought it was stacked because I saw the potential, right? We had the Julian Petersons of the world. We had Tony Parrish, Jeff Ulbrich, Ahmed Plummer. To me, I thought those fucking players were amazing. You know, we had Brian Young at the time. Streets. Like to me, those fucking names were amazing. Cause when I watched the games, I'm like, bro, for this decade, we are not a crappy team. When I saw guys like Kevin Barlow, right? When I saw the Fred Beasleys, Ty Streets, Garrison Hurst, I was like, bro, this early Niners team is amazing. It's just we couldn't really put it together. There is an art to starting a season like there is closing a season, kind of like starting a good chapter of a book, right? You've seen the greatest shows have a horrible ending, and you're like, damn, bro, that horrible ending wasn't good, proper closure. Yo, what's going on, Vince? Defense took over, offense led the way. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I was very I know there's that saying, it's better to be lucky than good. There was two passes that if I was gonna say Tim Rattay just because he wears 13, but Brock Purdy, if he doesn't make those passes, obviously they went for touchdowns, but could easily gone for interceptions. That back throw end zone cross body to Brandon Ayuk, I don't know, there's four bodies there. Obviously it's 50% Jaguar, 50% Niner ball, but and even that same, I don't know, fade route or wheel route from George Kittle. That's dangerous. Obviously, it's a good matchup because it's like an outside linebacker versus George Kittle. You'll take that any day. But we'll see when we face. I mean, I can't even say we'll see when we face a top defense because the Jaguars are a top offense and a top defense. I mean, they were the hottest team in the NFL. We just showed up. I don't know if it's the addition of Chase Young, but before even Chase Young, right? And we'll get to him later or soon because I'm not going to make a long video, right? I'm just speaking out loud. I'm not a fucking pro or anything. When I read the names of Javon Kinlaw, first rounder, Eric Armstead, first rounder, Javon Hargrave, basically an all pro, Nick Bosa, all pro, Colin Farrell, first rounder, Drake Jackson, Fred Warner, all those are either all pros, top players, Pro Bowls, or first rounders. That alone, you basically don't need Chase Young. You should dominate teams basically with Nick Bosa and Javon Hargrave. I seen Justin the Cowboy Smith do it with Alden Smith. So I'm not saying we need Chase Young because we do, obviously, but and I'm happy and grateful that we have him. Like I'm gonna enjoy watching basically Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis rocking the red and gold, right? I'm getting early 2000 New York Giants defensive line with Justin Tuck, Michael Strahan, Usio Minora. Like, that's the fucking appetizer that I'm getting, right? Talking about the Antonio Pierce of the world. This is what I'm getting with this Niners defense. That defensive line is nasty. I've never seen something that stacked. Not even, I'm relatively young in the sport of football, but, I didn't even see the early 2008 Niners with Justin Smith and Isaac Sopoaga, Ahmad Brooks. Like, this defensive line, it should be more talented. Obviously, that team with Patrick Willis, Bowman, they will always have like the hearts and minds of fans. especially that Super Bowl that we could have won against the Ravens. But like we didn't get proper closure. Look, man, I'm all over the place. I'm rambling, all right? I'm fucking excited. But Chase Young and Nick Bosa, man, they're giving me Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis vibes. You know, when I look back in time, man, when I look back in time, let me see. When I look back in time with like the 2008 or 2010 Jets, right? When they had Antonio Cromartie, Darrell Revis, I think it was like Orlando Pace and Sean Ellis and CJ Mosley. They had that badass offensive line with DeBrickashaw Ferguson and Nick Mangold, led by like Mark Sanchez. Bro, it was just good to watch good football. And I just remember I don't know, I'm just rambling off the top, but when Rex Ryan brought in Antonio Cromartie, he's like, bro, we brought you here for one reason, so you can shut down Pierre Garcon, right? Because Revis is going to shut down Reggie Wayne. We brought you here to shut down Antonio. He told that to Antonio Cromartie. And, man, bro, early Peyton Manning fucking football days, fucking the shit. But going back to, like, years past, man, we had a good-ass team. I think this is Manny Lawson, Takeo Spikes, Nate Clemens, bro. Man. I'm getting excited for. Well, I don't even think I shared the video. Look, man, I'm getting excited all over again with the addition of Chase Young. This dude is probably the playmaker that we needed. Look at that shit, bro. No neck Takeo Spikes. Look, man, I'm extremely excited. That defense with Chase Young, Nick Bosa, and all those names that I mentioned, even Colin Farrell, Drake Jackson, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead. Look, there's just no way we can't win. That defensive line should just completely dominate and take over games. They really should. Because who are you going to double team? You really can't double team anybody. You want to double team Nick Bosa? Bet. That Eric Armstead has been one of our best defensive linemen this whole year. Javon Hargrave as well. I'm extremely excited, man. I can't really stress this enough. And I don't know if this is accurate. But I read somewhere that like Kyle Shanahan going into the fourth quarter, if he's down in the fourth quarter, he's like 1-30. I don't know if those statistics are correct. I don't know. Maybe it was a hyperbole. I really don't remember. I should have screenshotted it so I can share with you guys in the screen and maybe you guys can debunk it. But maybe Kyle has been figured out. You know, his run defense approach, his run offense approach. I love it, man. I love physical football. It reminds me of Mike Singletary. It reminds me of Jim Harbaugh. Smash mouth, old school football, running down your throat. I like seeing it, especially with the modern era of always passing 50 times a game and, you know, no look passes and having the Patrick Mahomes of the world, the Herberts of the world that they just pass like no tomorrow. I love seeing physical football. But sometimes, man, I feel like Kyle is stuck in his ways. Look, I know Kyle's he's a winner in life. He's a great coach. But I feel like I've seen this story before. Like I've seen Bill Belichick and Tom Brady with far less accomplish way more. Like, could you look what happened when Tom Brady finally had Randy Moss, a fucking true weapon. That's what Matt Ryan had with what's old boy's name, Julio Jones and Devontae Freeman. Like you saw how good Tom Brady, even at age 50, was with the Buccaneers without an offseason during COVID. I'm saying, like, how much more toys does this great coach of Kyle Shanahan need to fucking win a Super Bowl? Like I said, winning Super Bowls are not easy. Like, I get that, especially in this era. Or especially in any era. Fuck, what am I talking about? But when I look at this roster, man, I can't stress enough, like, how talented we are. Like, we're extremely It's stupid how good this team is. Like when you look at it on paper, you're like, dude, you guys have a damn near all pro or a Pro Bowl roster. This is a fucking all-star team. It's crazy. This is what we have. Even before the addition of Chase Young is just like overkill. It's like giving Tom Brady, Randy Moss, Julio Jones, and fucking Tyreek Hill. Like our defensive line is nasty. I'm telling you, it's giving me to early 2000s or mid 2000s New York Giants, right? With Usio Minora, Justin Tugg, Jason Pierre-Paul, Michael Strahan. This is what this vibes is giving me. On the edge with Chase Young and Nick Bosa, it's Robert Mathis, Dwight Freeney with the Colts, and like add in Bob Sanders. Like it's filthy. It's filthy. I saw, like, I don't know, a month ago or whatever, I said, yeah, my bad, Vince. Agreed. We have Randy Gregory. That's a $70 million man right there. That's insane. Like, I just, if we don't win a Super Bowl, I don't really know what to say. Look, man, going just to close this really quick. I don't really want to be on here too long, because I can gush all over and be like, dude, what the fuck? This is incredible. But when I look at the hold on, let me catch my breath really quick. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, maybe like a month ago I said something that Steve Wilkes was not the problem, right? The reason I said that he wasn't the problem is because I saw what his intent was, and it was correct. When I watched the Minnesota Vikings game, right? It's kind of like you live and die by the sword. And even the Cleveland Browns game, I saw Steve Wilkes call a pretty good fucking game plan. Except, what's his name? Kirk Cousins made some fucking amazing throws under pressure, right? That offensive line for the Minnesota Vikings, they were kicking our fucking ass. You know, they held the ground. And Kirk O'Chains was just picking us apart. Charvarius Ward, he did a great job of covering. He's been doing a really good job all season, except, you know, the other guys are good too on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Like Addison made a great play early in the game. Ward got an interception. A physical took the ball away from Addison. Addison was like, I'm gonna get you back, bro. And that's exactly what he did. Unfortunately, it was before halftime, and he took it for like 70 yards and took away the ball. But it was a blitz, and Charvarius Ward was in position to make a play and an interception. All you can really ask for a coach is put you in position to make a play. And whether you make a play or the other team makes a play, well, that's called playing fucking football. But what's unexcusable is a coach building his team for 7 years, and that's Kyle. And all we wanted to do was blame Steve Wilkes. Oh my God, he's in the box. He should be down low with the players because, you know, that's what DeMeco Ryans and Robert Saleh did. Look what difference does it make? Like, not really, bro. I mean, I guess, unless he's a great motivational speaker like Teddy Atlas that can bring ghost and just fucking inspire you all crazy with an amazing pep talk that's fucking Vince Lombardi, you know, Broadway quotes, then I can see that. But at the end of the day, when I was seeing Steve Wilkes' play call, I was like, bro, he's doing a pretty good fucking job. But Kyle, what's up with those 17 points and 3? I mean, are the Minnesota Vikings defense that great? Cleveland Browns defense that great? I mean, I know they've been putting up great numbers all year, but look at the Cincinnati Bengals. Is their defense that great where you guys only get held to 17? Like I said, Brock Purdy on Sunday made 2 basically Cinderella incredible throws. He did something similar to the Cincinnati Bengals, and the defensive line made the play, and he got the pick. So it's kind of like, is it better to be good than lucky, or is it better to be lucky than good? It's one of those questions, right, that you live and die by the sword. At the end of the day, like we said, this is playing football, man. Vince says, for your information, House of Champions is canceled. Chatted with Lefty Haro from Haro Bros Boxing, and he confirmed Jorge Maravilla page also. Yeah, no, man. Jorge is one of my friends. Sorry, I wouldn't say one of my friends. I know him. I trained with him when we were younger. His page did confirm it. Yes. I just thought his fight was canceled, and Drew Superflies, I didn't know the whole night was canceled. That's pretty shocking, you know. I wonder if like the money wasn't there, or they didn't get sanctioned, or you know there was the money wasn't being paid correctly. I've never seen a whole event get canceled. I've seen a couple of fights get rescheduled, whether it's injury or got a fighter got sick, but for the whole night, yeah, that's pretty crazy, man. I can only imagine the clusterfuck that it is going to be to, I guess, give the fans back their tickets, you know? Like, let's say, for example, if I'm Jorge Maravillo and I sold 500 tickets, I got to talk to all 500 people, be like, bro, here's your money, you know? Like, it would be fucking chaotic. So that's very unfortunate, man. I was really looking forward to House of Champions. I did see the post. I just, like, yeah, that's pretty shocking. Vince says weather was a factor, but that may be a reason. It was an outdoor event. Yeah, I agree. I did hear my girl send me a text. Excuse me. My girl sent me a text that that it was gonna rain all week and we're expecting a storm, like sometime like how we had last year. Right, Jorge has to get all the money together. Yeah, man. That sounds, like I said, it just sounds yeah, that would be I wouldn't be stressing, but it would be like, man, it's very unfortunate circumstances right there for sure. But yeah, man, Chase Young versus Nick Bosa is giving me Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis vibes, man. Just who's gonna get to the QB first? Are they gonna always pancake the quarterback together? I'm really excited because I would say this. We're just gonna ramble and just talk for a little bit. The Niners have found a loophole to make and get collateral picks. What I mean by that is, like, we got Robert Mathis, Mike McDaniels, and D'Amico Ryans, and they've all been minorities, right? So when they get into a head coaching position, which those three coaches have had, we get stocked with a lot of picks, mid-tier picks, right? Third, fourth, second rounders. And we allocate those resources properly to fucking find steals, right? McCaffrey and Chase Young. It's like, bro, how do you guys even muster this? This is a loophole. And the Niners hired Steve Wilkes for that same loophole. Build this guy up and get him in a higher position, and we get, we basically are like our defensive coordinators are expendable in that sense. And I don't know if we're gonna get lucky with Steve Wilkes in that sense, but they found a loophole and they're making the most out of it. I know I said this in the previous video, but fucking John Lynch, he's a fucking mastermind. I like having a player. He's kind of like the Billy Bean of baseball for the Athletics. That's what we have for the Niners, because he's a player GM too. And I'm pretty sure there's others in the NFL, but I don't really study this shit, so I'm not like fucking witty with the history and stuff. But I just go based on my recollection, and my memory is flawed. So all the extremists that are going to be like, man, you're not a Niner fan, all this, like, relax, guys, relax. Like, I'm critical of my guys. I've fucking been a Niner fan since, like, I was 7 years old, okay? Since I had a binder. And back in elementary school, we used to collage the front page and put pics. I had fucking Brandon Lloyd newspaper cutouts from the San Francisco Chronicle and collage it on my binder. And that was my flex. I couldn't afford badass clothing, but I had my fucking binder pimped out. So when you saw Chapin, man, and you saw all that grade A's that I was getting, A pluses and satisfactories and O's for my behavior, man, dude, my binder was pimped out. You can't tell me otherwise. But yeah, man, I'm always going to be critical of Kyle Shanahan because I just cannot, like, bro, how do you lose 28-3? It's like when the Jaguars beat the Vikings the Jaguars beat the San Diego Padres, the San Diego Chargers or LA Chargers last year when they were up 24-0. How do you lose 28-24? How do you blow a 28-3 lead? That's crazy. Vince says Lloyd was sick. Yeah, bro. Brandon Lloyd was fucking bad. He was with the acrobatic catches, one-handers. He was Odell Beckham before Odell. This dude was incredible. He was incredible. Brandon Lloyd was my guy. Yeah, man. It was anyway, man. I gotta close up real quick because I don't really got many folks to talk football with me. Just me and my little lonely world, but. I'm excited for Chase Young. Hopefully we retain him. Randy Gregory. He's been playing really good since the acquisition that we got from the Broncos. I liked what he's done. Even Colin Farrell, where we've been, we had him last year, I believe, and now he's finally molding, and he moved up the roster, taking out Drake Jackson, and he's doing an incredible job, man. Isaiah Oliver from the Falcons, I know he's been a little bit of up and down, and probably the secondaries and the DBs that we got during the draft are probably going to, get back and get more involved. Same thing with Ambry Thomas. I think he's number 20. I think last year or 2 years ago when he was covering Odell Beckham, he did a great fucking job. I don't know what's happened that he's no longer getting a lot of play time, but I'm excited for this defense. I love defense. Defense has always been my thing. My favorite player has always been Troy Polamalu. Maybe it's that long hair, don't care, but I'm really excited, man. And yeah, it's just good to be a Niner fan right now. Vince says, good live, gotta be tough versus Tampa next week. Yeah, I agree. Tampa has that's a Super Bowl defense, right? They have basically the same players. They got Vita Vea from Santa Cruz, California, or Milpitas. They have not Jason Pierre-Paul, but I think they had Bradley Chubb. No, Bradley Chubb might be with the Dolphins. I don't know. They have a good pass rusher, corner, edge. I'm not too sure if he's hurt still, but they got Devin White and Levante David, Antoine Winfield Jr. They got some good-ass players, but I just don't know what's happening with them this year. Like, they have a good fucking team, I know they lost a couple of defensive linemen, but it's kind of no excuse. Shout out to CJ Stroud. That dude's a rookie, and he's the MVP of the year. Like, he's MVP. I really can't stress enough. He's the best QB in the NFL. And he's doing it without a bona fide number one fucking receiver. Like, no disrespect to those receivers and Noah Brown, Tank Dell, Robert Woods. Those are great. Those are very good players. But CJ Stroud is what we wanted Trey Lance to be. Shout out to Trey Lance, bro. But what CJ Stroud is doing is what we expected Trey Lance to be. They kind of even look similar. Got the light skin features. Yeah, Nico Collins, bro. Nico Collins, Tank Dell. It's literally the next man up, and CJ Stroud is fucking delivering and the ball and allocating it to spread. Bro, I just can't stress enough how good that dude's arm and vision is. I wish Trey Lance was like that. But again, maybe Trey Lance just needed more playing time. But yeah, man. Thomas had that one to the house, but that silent and fracture called it back. Texas lit them up. Yeah, man. They fucking. I don't know. CJ Stroud he's left me speechless. Nico Collins, yep. Panthers, fuck that pick up. Yeah, man. I will say this. I also see the intent and the potential of Bryce Young. Like, obviously, right now, we would say CJ Stroud is completely much better than Bryce Young. And I would probably say Bryce Young has better overall weapons. I like Adam Thielen a lot. I know he's 35 years old. Now, he's not a player that necessarily I get scared. Like, he's not a Jamar Chase by any stretch of the imagination, but he knows how to catch the ball. He's fucking reliable. Jonathan Mingo, I think that's his name, or Larry Shannahan. Like, these are good players when they were with Jacksonville. And I think Mingo is like a rookie. But their tight end, Hayden Hurst, he was pretty good with Atlanta Falcons. And then Miles Sanders, like, I don't know what's going on, but Bryce Young probably has better overall players than the Houston Texans on the offensive side. It's just CJ Stroud is the difference maker. Like, I agree. It is very early. He's still a rookie. But when I see some of those plays with Bryce Young, I just feel like he's not really that much of a gunslinger. He's very careful with the ball. I don't know what his stats are, but at least a couple of games that I've seen him play, he's he just looks like he just wants to make the good play rather than the dangerous play, like risk it all. Like, I don't see a Josh Allen in him or a Brett Favre. He's just much more conservative. In fact, maybe like an Alex Smith when he was with the Niners. You get him some right players. You get him like a Jim Harbaugh to really, put Bryce Young into positions and utilize his strength. You can win with Bryce Young. I see his vision. He's got a nice touch of the football. He can scramble with the legs. Like, I see an Alex Smith. If I'm the Panthers, I'm like, don't jump the gun. Like, yeah, CJ Stroud right now is much more amazing. And he's much more dynamic. And he's just fucking like, this is the future, right? But let me remind you guys, Peyton Manning, his first year, he had like 20 touchdowns to 22 interceptions or some shit like that. and look how great he developed. So um, if I'm the Panthers, I don't know, when the year ends, what position they'll have. But if they can get Marvin Harrison Jr. or one of those fucking Ohio State wide receivers, um, I'm not saying tank the season because it's very difficult just to let another man punch you in your face and be like, yeah, I'm going to take a dive. But if you guys can just continue to lose and be the worst team in the NFL, pick up a bona fide number one wide receiver, help out Bryce Young. If you guys invested in him by being a first-round pick, get him a good offensive line, get him some fucking weapons, and then, let him chuck the ball 50 times a game. Jets QB situation is god-awful after that Rodgers injury. Should have went after Dobbs. Man, they should have gone after Jimmy Garoppolo, Joshua Dobbs. Yeah, man. I mean, look, you can't really blame the Jets because they had Aaron Rodgers, and Zach Wilson is a first rounder. Like that's another guy right there. Like when I see Zach Wilson, he's just not consistent enough. But bro, he's got some fucking spark to him. Like he's good. Like when I see him, I'm like, bro, if you can make that throw, now make it consistently. And that's the only problem with him is just like, I don't know, like maybe he needs another wide receiver that can bail him out. Get him a Calvin Johnson. I know he's got Garrett Wilson, and I know he's got Brees Hall. Like he's got some fucking playmakers, but sometimes that little inaccuracy where you need to be very precise. If he's a little erratic with the ball, get him a big frame wide receiver who's like 6'6", 6'8", just so they have that wide span and can fucking save them on some plays. But yeah, man. Yeah, I agree. The Jets should have been strong in picking up like a Jimmy G for cheap, or a Joshua Dobbs, or hell, even fucking Sam Darnold. Wait, did we get him from Sam Darnold? I think Sam Darnold was Carolina. But yeah, they should have gone after a QB. I agree with you, but probably they know something about the ayahuasca and the frog trips that Aaron Rodgers is doing to his body that's accelerating that ACL from coming back. He might be coming back for the playoffs if the Jets make it that far. But anyway, man, I'm kind of rambling off the top. I feel like I'm on a manic episode right now, but Vince, thank you guys for tuning in. And yeah, man, I'm fucking excited to be a Niner fan. I mean, I've always been, but I like seeing the defense. No disrespect to the offense. Like, I don't really care too much about the offenses in the NFL just because I feel like, oh, man, these guys are breaking stats. It's like, yeah, because you guys don't allow the quarterbacks to get hit. But I'm going to be excited to see if this Niner defense can break records, man. I want to see Hargrave with 10 sacks, Bosa with 10 sacks. I want to see 4 players with 10 sacks, Eric Armstead and Chase Young. That's my expectation, 40 sacks in totality with 4 different players. I think that would be great. Now, just fucking around, guys. I'm excited for Deebo and Trent Williams to come back. And, yeah, man, we'll talk about this at year's end. But, yeah, man, Kyle, I expect 30 points every single time, man. Like, that's just the expectation. You got George Kittle. I mean, maybe TJ Hawkinson's a little better than him. You got Deebo Samuel, best wide back you can get in the NFL. Brandon Ayuk, he's got fucking Antonio Holmes or fucking Antonio Brown route running skills. Brock Purdy, I mean, hey, he's a gunslinger. That boy can flat out play. And you got Christian McCaffrey. I mean, it's just no excuse. I expect 30 points every single game. And Steve Wilkes with this team, bro, you better shut people down under 10. I need 2,000 Ravens. Like, that's the expectation. Vince, have a good night, guys. Y'all stay safe, man. And I'll catch you on the next one.